So today we're talking about Kevin Harrington, who is one of the original sharks from the Shark Tank show, the show Shark Tank, that started it all. It's a big wave of a sensation back in the day. So we're talking about Kevin Harrington today. Stay to the end to find out how it sort of gets to the end. Welcome to the news. And so we're talking about this because it corresponds to being a consultant, as opposed to necessarily trying to do everything yourself, and like leveraging the idea of consultancy by being like an attachment to businesses, as opposed to owning a significant number of businesses necessarily. So it's also a matter of trying to originate businesses and business concepts, and the idea to inspire business catalysts to do what Kevin Harrington does, which is launch, scale, and exit businesses all at the same time. So functionally, and in the past, we've tried to focus, I think, internally on like growing businesses, the idea of growing existing businesses, or more or less like starting new ones and trying to figure out the ways to try to navigate avenues to develop them from scratch, which has always been sort of a preference, which is what is sort of still a preference, which corresponds to launching them, but it's always been two-sided basically, which it still is, not to say that it's not, where it's like difficult to start from scratch. And so the ideation is to try to connect people that know what they're doing already, like mentors and such things, as well as the essence of scale and multiplying the essence of trying, to also combine that essence with like a multiplication from yesterday's episode, podcast episode, where we talked about kids and kid energy and kid collaborations and kids having youthful energy that is able to float into space and develop unique collaborations with each other, which also corresponds to artificial intelligence, which corresponds to the essence of perpetual energy flowing forward in terms of business energy that has the ability to be able to develop new energy consistently, consecutively, and grow upon itself for the world to be able to benefit after all. And so we're just trying to take that mindset of like that whimsy being able to grow upon itself with the essence of the Kevin Harrington sort of focus of growing, of launching, scaling, and exiting businesses for 50 years that he has, and leveraging the mindset of being a consultant to try to like start new businesses at scale in an ideal sense, to be able to bring new tools to existing businesses, because with the mindset that everybody in the world is a business regardless, because they have the ability to sell and they also have the ability to invest, and that's just like the tools, the toolkit, the template to be able to be an investor and or a business after all. And so nonetheless, trying to find the most like healthy processes and such things, similar to how I've talked about SCORE in the past. SCORE is a mentorship that's free, to be able to try to like get people to align with that, and then also have the ability to try to focus on helping people to help other people, in essence, like to be able to also try to fill a schedule, to be able to fill up a schedule, to be able to go from like a past experience and encounter of just like latency and sort of like lacking, I guess, in focus in terms of forward motion, forward progress, forward steps, like forward abilities to be able to act upon, filling up the schedule, meaning my schedule, with other people as opposed to just myself, and trying to navigate the waters of trying to develop a routine and a process and a strategy to like go forward and be able to leverage future motion with just myself, understanding the direction to then therefore make results and business results, and then trying to turn that around, spin that around, flip it on its side by basically making a reference to focusing on other people in terms of circle list loops is what I called them, because those are closed circuit processes that correspond to other people. Other people in general are closed circuit processes. They're closed circuit process loops because they exist every single day, and that is what a loop is at the same time. They are a closed circuit system. They are an existing loop because every day they sustain themselves by sustaining themselves in this environment called planet Earth, and in the world, just by existing, just by being present. It's an accomplishment after all. And so that loop, that process of consistent existence, corresponds to that loop having a certain level of value, which corresponds to spiritual finance being something that we talk about in this podcast, which corresponds to just like existing being valuable, just like having an existence and a way for your cells to continue to just be functional and flowing in life and in existence is something special and unique. And trying to just enhance on that is what being the consultancy revolves around, by like trying to inspire, trying to ask people if they want to take the blue pill or the red pill, which is basically like in the Matrix movie, the obvious, well, if you've seen the movie, it's the obvious time where it's time to make like a choice to make it, to take action. And so like there's the ability to use things like SCORE and City National Bank ideally, so that people can really like try to dig into having some mentorship or whatever tools, just in a basic sense. And then also Charlie Morgan and Imperium Academy, Imperium Academy, which is corresponds to being able to also talk more about like leveraging and growing consistently like a marketing agency, or like facilitating marketing leads through, you know, Charlie Morgan in of itself, to basically pass on demand and try to grow outside businesses at scale. That's just a random example of a random affiliate, to be able to continue to use outside tools to grow outside businesses, and at the same time, nonetheless, the greater, grander, more wholesome bottom line point is being able to be involved in many other businesses, being able to try to scale other businesses, being able to try to launch and scale and exit other businesses, which means sell other businesses for high prices, by just in essence being a consultant that is also like an originating energy, and originating a cause of originating energy. There's something like more or less like cause and effect. If you're like a cause and effect coach and or consultant, like a coach and a consultant are similar things, more or less. So if you're a cause and effect coach and consultant, and you help people to see the cause and effect and like sort of walk through the essence of the cause to the effect, to be able to entice action, because if you have free resources such as SCORE and such as City National Bank or whatever, which is also kind of an energy that corresponds to like people that will help you sort of free, similar to SCORE, because they want the business, and so they're not working for free, they're actually working because they want more business to happen, so they get more money. So it's hand in hand, a cumulative alignment with the hard work of City National Bank, if you will. And so in addition, though, the point being is being a coach and a consultant, to be able to help stoke business energy, makes you aligned with businesses and causing launching businesses by bringing certain tools to light, and then like not necessarily having all of the liability of the businesses is sort of the key factor, I would say, to be able to consistently, like in the Shark Tank movie, like in the Shark Tank show, like in the essence of Shark Tank, is being able to like not just add money necessarily, but kind of like a film studio, and like how they would fund films in the film industry, is they would get outside funding like from differing funds, like perhaps in the Middle East, it depends necessarily, but basically like there's a matter of like, you know, knowing the essence of having a functional process related to the consultancy, which corresponds to Kevin Harrington, because you're not necessarily having to directly, like a producer in a movie, connect yourself in terms of liability. So that's the ideation, is like having a portfolio stack by keeping yourself on the outside, keeping yourself disconnected, keeping yourself just at the helm of being able to connect resources, semi like a film studio, and just connecting resources, and just attaching a commission to a fee that is attached as well. So it's like a fee that's inherently connected through the ability to connect different resources and develop that launch out of the three things, out of launch, scale, and exit a business, which are the three things that Kevin Harrington does. That in essence we're talking about launching being something that's actually typically connected with losing. That's typically connected with losing. So in this instance, we're trying to connect that with something that is a combination of like multiple tries to be able to increase and enhance the potential for wins, and at the same time trying to find energies in people, trying to stoke energies in people, trying to talk about the cause and effect energies of potential to stoke the interest for people to take action and have people pay with action before they even get to learn about these tools. Basically, they're vetted before they even will take a step forward or take steps forward to be able to hear the rest of the tools that you have to offer, and little by little lead the breadcrumbs of the tools that you have to offer, such as SCORE and City National Bank. I hope, and ideally, so that if people actually hear about them and you say, hey, I have these tools, if you'll take action, then I'll tell you more. Are you willing to make conceptual action and such things, like committing to action in a verbal sense right now as we speak? And if the yeses persist and they go down the bunny trail of consistent yeses, then as they yes down the bunny trail, basically, that ideally that by the time that you're telling them about SCORE and City National Bank, that they basically are committing to action, because if you're telling them that, that's actually something that you don't want to get them involved in mentally or necessarily if they're not willing to take action, because it's a waste of your time, it's a waste of their time. But in general, it's just trying to tell them that as a prize, as a reward, as a tool, as a thing that exists to be able to get them to then therefore start to grow their business, because that's the whole purpose of getting down that bunny rabbit trail hole, bunny rabbit hole trail of running down the bunny trail, rabbit hole, whatever you want to call it anyway, to get them to be able to start to grow their business or want to take actions. Actions are what cause the roots to be able to grow in this instance in terms of the launching side of the business process. Launching as well as scaling as well as exiting. Those are the two most significant, is scaling and exiting. Those are the most common, but the launching factor, this is to accommodate and talk about, this podcast is talking about the launching side of those three things of launching, scaling, and exiting a business. So Kevin Harrington is the symbol of that factor for trying to leverage something that we've been talking about trying to do lately, which is referring to like SCORE, for example, as a mentorship for people if they want it and are interested in it, and then also City National Bank, ideally, to have supplemental support, in essence, to try to follow through with and carry out certain actions to try to facilitate launching more efficiently by having the right people in place and in mind. And not everything always obviously will work itself out necessarily, and that's what being an accountability coach on my behalf is all about, is trying to be an accountability coach after trying to align a seed, an origination seed, starting with a seed and then aligning with the right energies so that people will take action. They will have an interest in a cause and effect coach and or consultant, which is also what Kevin Harrington is by causing the cause and effect sort of outline for people to understand more fundamentally, more methodically, more functionally, so that they do want to continue to go down the bunny trail, because it's free, it's free cause and effect coaching, which cause and effect coaching can cost $25,000 a week. Conceptually, if it's the right crowd, if it's sold to the right audience, cause and effect coaching can cost like $25,000 a week. So anyways, that's what I've heard of it costing, at least I think. Anyways, I think at the most expensive time, that's what I heard it costing as. So the purpose is you're like outlining these tools, you're outlining these concepts, and so realistically, it's just a matter of trying to pay with action, paying into this with action, having other people pay into this with action, so that after all, by the time that they can try to get down the bunny trail, that there's other people and other support trying to get them to push them further down the bunny trail so that they will take action, perpetually take action. It's like pulling the choke cord of an engine by pulling on the choke cord and trying to get the engine to start and having the engine actually start. And that's the launch. This is the launch side of those three things, the launch, scale, and exit side of those three things. Exit is obviously where you eventually want to go, where you can scale the business and have it grow, ideally from a foundation eventually, and be able to exit. But this is the full circle mindset methodology of trying to focus full-time, full-term, and fill up a future schedule for Dinky T, change for games into the future, to be able to try to build a community around and try to bustle and more fruitfully, more functionally, more ongoing, more consistently try to fill up the schedule, fill up the future, the flow chart of consistency regarding connections and meetings with people to be able to try to develop and facilitate this same process, to be able to help people try to help other people in the world, after all, because trying to help set up businesses, trying to help set up processes around business processes is about trying to help people around the whole world, trying to develop philanthropy and philanthropy energy in the world, trying to solve problems, trying to develop a global philanthropy energy grid, connect all human beings in a better way, in the best way possible, if possible, in the ways possible, leveraging AI, leveraging any tools that we can potentially, and also developing the global good deeds economy revolving around that, and also having games revolving around the whole process, just like last night's podcast where we talk about kid energy, potentially perpetually connecting all of these tools, potentially perpetually leveraging AI and bouncing off of AI to be able to consistently and continuously develop cyclical, cycling, circling, circular processes similar to being a human being, similar to being within the human form, the human structure, which is a cyclical, cycling process of having a similar personality on a consistent day-to-day basis that corresponds to who that human being is inside the skin, and then being able to exemplify and make a better version, leveraging, connections to just similar to adding different connections and connectivity to different, through different tools and attachments, similar to a car, similar to buying a car that is a base model car, and then adding more additions to it, adding as a human, but doing that as a human, basically, to their business as an extension of themselves, or the groups that surround them, the things that are connecting to them as a whole, whether it is a group that surrounds them or as an individual, that everybody in the world gets these enhancements, gets the aftermarket products, gets the aftermarket enhancements, gets the aftermarket, improvements, enhancements, exemplifications of themselves, because everybody in the world has the ability to do more and be more based on these tools that simply start with artificial intelligence, but also have to do with aligning in a certain way, in a certain design, just like adding certain features. You can add engine modifications and specifications to the engineering dynamics of a car underneath the hood, and then also the cosmetic nature of the nature of the dynamics of the of the car at the same time, have the ability to be enhanced, be modified, and be more optimized, more or less, for every human being and everyone in the world to connect to the global philanthropy energy grid, to all be solving problems connectively, and the global good deeds economy as well, to start to gamify the world and the old school world of business into the future. So that's all for now. Thanks again, Dinky Tech and Change for Game Studios. I hope people can use artificial intelligence to try to look into and just read through these podcasts also, as opposed to listening to them, perhaps. Anyway, that's all for now. Thanks again. Bye, peace, bye, Think Tech, Dinky T, Change for Games. Bye, peace, bye, bye. And let's all remember to push for world peace every single day. Let's all remember to push for world peace every single day. Let's push for world peace every single day. And also, let's remember to try to clear the animal shelters. Let's clear all the animal shelters in the world. Let's clear all the animal shelters in the world, because we can foster all the shelter animals. We can adopt all the shelter animals in the world. We can rescue all the shelter animals in the world, and we can also hire the shelter animals as healers. We can also hire the shelter animals as healers all throughout the world, so that they don't have to be mistreated in animal shelters, and we can clear the animal shelters, and we can hire the shelter animals as healers throughout our communities. Hire the shelter animals as healers throughout our communities, because they also work for free, and they could use better purpose and use better jobs and be able to add value and be therapeutic energy for humans and humanity, to help us be more harmonious as humans and among humanity, for all the animals in the world, to clear all the animal shelters, to try to get them to transition their energy in terms of therapeutic energy to all humans, so we can clear the animal shelters to add value to humanity in terms of harmony, if possible. And let's push for world peace every single day and clear the animal shelters every day. That's all for now. Thanks again, Dinky Tech and Change for Game Studios. Bye. Peace. Bye.